Welcome to another episode of the Private Practice Podcast. As you know, no jingle today, no jingle on the end of it either, because I'm out and about at the moment. I'm on leave again. Yes, this is my third holiday this year. We're in May. But anywho, I thought this time what we might do is go back to our roots. If you ever listened to some of the very first episodes of this podcast, it used to be called Manifest Change. And that was at a time when I was thinking about releasing my registration as a psychologist and moving into something totally new and different, and I didn't really know what that was going to look like. What was happening at the time was I was questioning a lot of things, and it resulted in me looking for faith. I wanted something to connect to, something to believe in, something bigger than me, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I fell back into the world of spirituality. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful journey. It supported me at a very crucial, important time of my life and my career. And I never really looked back. And even now, years on, although the podcast name has changed and it's now, well, it was about private practice, but it was mostly about manifesting at the start. And then it became manifesting and running a business, manifesting and being a therapist, manifesting and being a woman, like all those kinds of things. So I realized when I came up here yesterday, I was driving up and I was thinking about, what do I really want to experience while I'm away? What do I really want to focus on? And I was remembering how every time I come away, it's such a sense of expansion for me that I very quickly start to receive insights and aha moments and downloads about things that I want to do in life and in my business. And I thought, do you know what? We haven't spoken about the woo for a hot minute, and maybe now just might be a fun time to dive back into that. I have been using manifesting as a support in my business, and I thought maybe it might be fun, interesting, helpful, inspiring, I don't know, whatever adjective you like to use, to share my story. And yeah, you can take what you want and leave the rest. So if that sounds good, great. Here we go. All right. So at the start of the year, I was away and I wasn't feeling very good at the time. And while I was away and I had the space, I thought to myself, well, you know what? I may as well start going back to journaling. So journaling is a practice that I use because it brings up insights, new ahas, all that kind of stuff. So I love journaling very, very much. But I hadn't been doing it for a while. So I got some paper and pens and I started journaling, and I found myself journaling around what did I really, really want to experience this year. And some interesting things came up, and a lot of them have come true. So I'm going to share with you what they were and what I did and what has happened since and what I'm working on currently. All right. So one of the things that I focused on with the manifesting was I really wanted to improve my health, and I really wanted to call in the right health professionals to support me on learning more about my recent diagnosis of autism and ADDC. I wanted a really good therapist. I wanted a really good neurodivergence coach. I wanted, practical tools, steps, techniques, new ways of functioning in the world now that I knew what was going on. So that was really important to me. I also set the intention to lose weight. And this was a biggie because up until the start of the year, I'd been really avoiding it. What happened was in COVID in 2020, the short version is I sold my home. Mum was going to sell her home. The idea was we were going to get to houses, two titles on the one bit of land, and that way she'd have her place, I'd have mine, and I could look after her as she needed. Which, like, of course, I'm going to do that. So I sold my place, and told Mum, went and stayed at her place that night. Next morning, got up. I said to her, I'm going to walk around the house and see if we need to, like, put fresh paint on the walls, get the carpet steam clean, before we put it on the market. And she said to me, oh, darling, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to sell. So there I was. Yeah, homeless, essentially. And the other things around that were we couldn't work, right? So we were in Victoria, we couldn't work, couldn't leave the house, all that kind of stuff. I took my business online at the time. She wasn't able or willing to do that, but she still had bills to pay and mortgages and stuff like that. So I used the money, the proceeds from the sale of my place to pay off her mortgage for her, so she wouldn't have that stress to worry about. But then she still didn't have an income. So I have been, like, looking after her. And anyway, what happened also was that my sister, she's got, well, not obviously, I was going to say, my sister, she has children. I was really excited to see one of them for their birthday. My sister said to me back then, well, no, you're not coming to the birthday. I said, why not? And she said, well, that'd just be cruel. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, Mum can't leave the house, so it'd be really cruel if you came to the kids' birthdays. So no, you're not to see the children, because it's just not fair on Mum. So in that whole time, I haven't had any contact with children because my sister thinks it's not fair if I do fun things, and my mum can't. So that really affected me when that happened. And it affected me to the point where I felt guilty doing things that I normally do. So before I moved in with my mum, as you might recall, like, I trekked Everest. I walked the Camino from Spain to France 3 times, Portugal to Spain as well. I was a national ballroom dancing champion. Like, I had a very active lifestyle. I was working hard, but I was also playing hard. But then when this happened with my sister, all of a sudden I really believed it, and I was like, okay, so I can't do any of my stuff anymore. So I didn't. And I just became, like, homebound because I believed that that was the right thing to do. That if I went out and went for a hike, or if I went to a ballroom dancing class, that wasn't fair on my mother because she couldn't get out. So I didn't want to be unfair, so I didn't do any of my stuff, right? And then the other thing was, Mum's, like, not great in terms of her health, doesn't really cook meals, things like that. I struggle to cook meals because I just get fixated on things at the time. Like, it might be something I'm doing for work, maybe something I'm working on in the practice, or I might be, I don't know, creating some really amazing content for a client, things like that. And so I don't have any sense of time. I'm just, like, in my little zone and just totally absorbed in what I'm doing. And the hours tick by, and then I kind of emerge from the study and it's like, 8 o'clock, and my mum's saying, where's dinner? So yeah, there's been a lot of reliance on takeaway, and trying to make healthy food choices with takeaway, but it's takeaway. And so this has been going on for 5 years. Me not looking after myself because I didn't think it was fair on my mother, for me to be looking after, like, my social health and my physical health. So I wasn't doing the things that kept me in shape, that, all of that. So anyway, when I was manifesting at the start of the year and I was saying, hey, I want to be healthy, like, I'm done with this. Like, I don't like how I look, how I feel. It's affecting my confidence and self-esteem. So yeah, I'm going to call in the right people to help me for my mental health and understanding neurodivergence. But I also want to call in opportunities, services, and people that can help me around my fitness and of course my weight. So that was a manifestation that I worked on, and I worked on that through journaling and imagining how I was going to feel when, I could walk up the driveway without puffing, or imagining how I was going to feel when I started to fit into my clothes better. And so there was a lot of journaling around that. And anyway, so just speaking into this one, because I'll come back to other ones in a moment. So I'll just show you how this one unfolded. So I did that, and okay, so I set the intention. That was step one. Step two, think about it, journal on it, daydream on it, like contemplate when I'm out walking or something like that, and garden with Buddy, or, if I'm in the bath, I just want to like think about it and imagine what it's going to feel like when I've got a better understanding of neurodivergence as it relates to me, when I've got new ways of working that help me, with organization and stuff like that. What will become possible for me then? And thinking too about like, what's it going to feel like when I'm not puffing? What's it going to feel like when I don't avert my gaze anytime I see a reflective surface because of how I look? So I was really just trying to like bring it into my mind as much as I possibly could. Well, within probably about a week, I came across a therapist, and no, I didn't come across it. Yes, I came across a therapist. She was an ADHD specialist, so she was a counselor. I was like really excited to connect with her, loved her website, everything. And then booked a session, had the first session with her. And then towards the end of the session, I said to her, "Hey, where did you do your training on neurodivergence?" And she goes, "I haven't done any training." And I said, "Hang on, what?" And she said she hadn't done any training. And I said, "Well, hang on, you're saying that you're a specialist in this and this is like your niche." And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "But you don't have any training?" She said, "No, well, I'm a counselor." And I was like, "Okay, I think I might need somebody who has some training in this, because I want to make sure I'm doing the right things." So, yeah, I went and connected with the lady that did my assessment, and she shared with me that, yeah, she actually does therapy as well. So I was able to start working with her, and I was able to book weekly sessions. So I went and booked weekly sessions with her, and I was so excited because that little dream, that little intention came true. And then probably a week or two after that, I was just scrolling Facebook, as you do, and an ad popped up for a gym near me. And I don't know why, like I've never been a gym person, but I just felt like I needed to do it. Like I was like, "Oh, this looks really good." Like it was just speaking to me. So yeah, I clicked learn more, filled out the form, had a call with them, which was obviously like a sales call. But I wasn't even like really thinking about it. I just went ahead and signed up. And then I went, which, as you know from previous episodes, it was a rocky start initially, but I just knew that I was meant to be there. And so I started going to the gym. And so that was great because, again, another manifestation of what I wanted. But also, what started to happen was the gym is near Aldi supermarket. And I used to go to Aldi sometimes and get shopping and stuff like that. This time I was like, yeah, I better go to Aldi and get some stuff. And just without even giving it any thought, and I didn't realize this until I got home and I was unpacking it, but there was mushrooms, there was broccolini, there were apples, bananas, grapes, cashews, like all this stuff that I just haven't bought because I was never really grocery shopping, you see. And when I did go to the shops, it was never for stuff like that. So that was when I started to realize, okay, something's happening here. So since then, since January, with getting the mental health support for understanding, I really want psychoeducation, understanding around the neurodivergence. That's been happening. I've been feeling great mentally and understanding like how things are for me. That's going great. Gym going great. Eating going great. Weighed myself 2 days ago, and yeah, I've gone from 95 kilo, which I'm only 5'3". So yeah, that's what I mean. Like, don't judge. I know you're not judging me. I judged myself for years and years, but yeah, I put on 25 kilo since moving in to my mother's to look after her, right? So I'm on a mission to get rid of it. And yes, I went from 95, and on Friday I was 77.6 or something. So um, feeling really, 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 really proud of myself because I've been working, it's been like a little bit of effort, but it's been joyful effort, joyful effort. So that has worked out well. And yeah, the other thing that I said when I was manifesting that was that I wanted to get back to my pre-moving in with mum weight, but I wanted the weight to come off in a way that felt effortless, easy, like I wasn't really trying that hard. And that has absolutely been my experience. I have weighed myself probably since January, maybe 3 or 4 times. But just try not to use the scales, just trying to, like, yeah, just let my clothes let me know. So that was how I manifested that. When it came to business, I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted for the business. And I just sort of set the intention that I wanted to call in a certain type of personality. I really wanted to work with women who were a certain way. So I got really clear on that. I got really clear on, she has to be coachable. She has to be, you know, understanding that she's going to go on a very steep learning curve. She's allowed to have meltdowns, but she's got to get herself back on track as well. That she's going to be interested in, spirituality, that, she's kind, that she's understanding, maybe she's also neurodivergent, da, 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 da. I did all of that, that she's committed, she's engaged, she gets results, she asks for help. Do you know what I mean? Like, all of that. So I set really clear intentions around that. Same thing. I was journaling on it, thinking about how cool it was going to be to work with women who had all of these qualities. And yeah, within probably even less than a week of that, I started to get inquiries around practice momentum, and people started to join. Well, I was going to say allowing, but that's not the right word. So there were lots of people that wanted to come into momentum, but I was mindful that I wanted a certain type of person. So not everybody who wanted to come came, but certainly there were people that fit the criteria that came, and I love it so much. Like, it's a total vibe. I love it, as you know. Anyway, so there was that. And I just also set the intention that I wanted to receive more money coming into the practice this year so that I could increase my savings, because what I had become aware of was, although the business was turning over, money and all of this kind of stuff, my savings wasn't really increasing. It would like go up a little bit, come down a little bit, go up a little bit, come down a little bit. And when I looked deeper into it, I could see why. It was because, my costs of living had increased a lot. For example, I pay for mum's medical treatment, and she has these really expensive injections every 6 weeks. So it's like, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So all of that, right? Or you start to get ahead in the savings and then you get the rates notice. You know what I'm talking about? So all of that. So I realized, okay, I need to shift the financial thermostat, the financial barometer for the business. I didn't have a clear idea of how much I wanted to receive or turn over. So I just said that I wanted to increase savings, and that I wanted to, call in more financial flow, and I guess stop leakage. Like, I wanted to stop financial leakage, like wherever that was happening. And then the other thing that I said around that manifestation was that I wanted to clear any of my blocks, seen or unseen, meaning like in my awareness or maybe in my subconscious mind that I'm not aware of, that are getting in the way of me receiving the financial flow, but also to clear any blocks, seen or unseen, from, I guess, women who are business owners, private practice owners, who are aware that they need help, but just for whatever reason can't pull pull the plug, pull the pin, pull the trigger. I don't know what the saying is. I think it's pull the trigger on getting support. So yeah, I just focused on that and making sure that whatever decision they made for themselves and the business was in their highest good and the highest good of all others and all of that, right? So I did that. And then that manifested. And what that looked like was I realized a few months later, I'd done my financials for the first quarter, and I had actually generated a $100,000 in 90 days. But it was probably less than 90 days because I wasn't really working that much in January. And with that awareness, I was stoked. Like, it was like the manifesting worked. How did I do it? I wanted to re-engineer it, and I'm making you the roadmap on that. So I know that that worked. The way that that one worked was, I believe, by asking for support from universe, source, energy, whatever you like to use, but asking for that kind of faith-based support to clear blocks seen or unseen for myself and for my potential clients. But also because something else, I listened to a manifesting meditation for probably the first 3 or 4 weeks of the year when I was doing all this manifesting work. And it was by Tracy Stein, which I listened to. It's on, I've got the Hay House audio app. I think it's like $7 or something a month, but it's on there if you want to get it. But yeah, so I was just listening to that most nights, and I really think that that worked because, you know what, as you're falling asleep, your subconscious mind is most receptive to hearing information and processing things, and all your beliefs are stored in your subconscious mind, right? And so without you even being aware, you've got all of these beliefs, and these beliefs dictate what you do in the business, what you don't do in the business, how you feel about things, how you don't feel about things, all of that. So I really believe that by listening to that manifesting meditation as I was going to sleep, it rewired my brain in terms of helping me create new ideas, new beliefs, things like that. And so then over time, I started to take different actions in the business without even really thinking about it. I just started to do things differently in the business. So that really helped as well. And yeah, someone was asking me if I have a ritual that I use. And the answer is, well, it was going to be no, because when I first started manifesting, you go down the rabbit hole, you read all the Joe Dispenza, you read the Abraham Hicks, Esther and Jerry, Gabby Bernstein, Elizabeth Gilbert, all the greats, Francis, I'm going to get this wrong, Francis Scoville Shiven, Neil Goddard, Bob Proctor, Wayne Dyer, you read all the stuff. And a lot of it recommends having a daily practice, like these rituals and everything. And to be entirely honest with you, I did try, but I don't know, like, I just found it so hard to stick to a ritual. But if I think about it even more, I can see that, yeah, I do kind of have not so much a ritual, but it is more of a daily practice or a habit that I've kind of got myself into. And yeah, I can share it with you, of course. So I ask myself these 3 questions. So the first thing that I will say is, what is it that I want? And then I ask myself, how will I feel when I've got it? And then I ask myself, how can I have that feeling now? So when it comes to business for you, right, maybe you might say, okay, what is it that I want? Well, I want more clients. Maybe I want 10 clients by the end of the month. That's what I really want. And then the second question would be, and of course, go into it in a lot more detail than that, right? So you would say, I'll give you an example. You might say, I want 10 new clients in the next 30 days. These clients pay on time, respect my policies and procedures, do the work. They're really engaged. They get results. They rave about me to all their friends. And my word of mouth referrals increase as a result of this. These clients are already knowing that they want to book an appointment with me when and if they do decide to get on a call. And the purpose of the call is really just for them to identify which of my offers or services would be the right one for them at this time. They are respectful, they are funny, they're into the woo as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, more detail, the better. Do that. And then you have to think about, how will I feel when I've got it? So ask yourself you're getting your mind now to imagine, call in the feeling, because the thoughts are electric, right? The feelings and emotions are magnetic. So we want to magnetize to our business, to our little world, to our little orbit, the things that we're wanting. That's why we do this next question. So imagine how you'll feel when your diary is starting to get more and more bookings of this type of client, the type of client who really wants your help, who is already on board, who's already on the same page as you, who does the work, who gets results, who raves about you, who generates word of mouth, who helps establish the reputation of your practice as the go-to practice in the area, who comes back to you time again because she knows that when she works with you, she gets results. And, so you're now like her person, you're now her practice, all of those kinds of things. So think about how all of that is going to feel for you, right? And just, are you going to feel relief? Are you going to feel joy? Are you going to feel excitement? Are you going to feel happiness? Are you going to feel alignment? Like, think of all the different things, not just one feeling. Think of like all the different things that you're going to feel. Just imagine she's going to pay at the time of booking. She happily pays cancellation fees, no pushback, no issue, nothing like that. She's got regular, do you know what I mean? Like, think how that's going to make you feel. It's going to make you feel like a sense of belonging, or maybe more credible. Maybe your imposter syndrome starts to go away. Do you know what I mean? Like, start to think about that and write down all of the things that it's going to feel for you when you start to work with these next 10 clients, right? And then the third question there is, how can you experience the feeling now? So go back to the list of all the things that you've just written and choose one. And I would just choose the one that feels most aligned and most easy to feel right now. So maybe you want to feel like successful. Maybe you want to feel like successful. So think about a time where you felt successful. So maybe a time you felt successful was you had your graduation. Maybe you felt successful when you had your graduation. Maybe you felt successful when you got a really high score on a test or an assignment. Maybe you felt successful when you passed your driver's license. Like, just think of times in your life where you experienced success. Remember those times and the feeling will just come back. If it was confidence, think about a time that you felt really confident with something. Had you just learned a new skill and then you went and did it for the first time, and like, how did that feel? Like, do you know what I mean? So just try and cultivate it. I would say just find the easiest way to the exact match for that feeling. And that's not my method either. That's from Abraham Hicks. Other ways that you could do it might be to, like, if you don't have an experience of feeling that thing, maybe just imagine it. Or do some research, pop on Google and look for other people who feel that thing and look at how they feel, like what's it like for them now they've got this thing, and see what you can experience vicariously. Do you know what I mean? So that, I feel, really helps as well. And so I wouldn't say manifesting is the only tool that you would ever use to build a private practice. My philosophy is it's got to be mind, business, spirit. You have to have the right mindset, understanding what that is. You have to have the right business strategies. They go hand in hand with the mindset. You can't have one without the other, or it just doesn't work. And then I really feel like spirit, I talk about spirit in terms of manifesting because that's fun for me, and I want my business to feel fun. that spirit can also mean you being in alignment, you being in, in the business in a way that helps you feel like you're living your purpose, you feeling fulfilled with the work that you're doing. Those kinds of things that feed and nourish your soul come under the heading of spirit. So, yeah, I wanted to share with you that I'm such a huge fan of manifesting. And yes, I'm manifesting things at the moment. So I've got new things on the go that I'm manifesting. And I'll share with you my three questions. So one of my three questions was, what is it that I want? And I want to be able to replicate the 100K in 90-day result that I had earlier this year. And, so I sort of had detailed stuff around that, but that's basically what it was. And then I thought, how will I feel when I've done it? And I was thinking I would feel relief, excitement, joy, confident knowing that I can do it again. I wouldn't feel like it was a fluke. I would feel safe, all these things. And then how can I experience that feeling now? That was to really think about other times in my life where I had succeeded with something that was unexpected, right? Or maybe it was expected. Like there was a time where I got my PhD, for example, and I just remember feeling like, wow. And then there was a fourth question that I asked myself actually, which was imagining that I already have the thing I want. What's the first thing that comes into my mind in terms of self talk when I realize that I've achieved it? So when I think about, okay, the future me that's looking at the numbers and has just realized that she's done it again, generated 100K again in her business, again, without killing herself working, by doing things that give her back her time, by not adding more to her plate, like all the stuff, by not stressing herself out, by not risking burnout or anything like that. She's done it again. She looks at them, she sees it, she's done it again. It's the first thing that goes through her head. And the thing that goes through my head is like, oh my God, that was so much easier than I thought. Like, why aren't more people doing this? And when I realized that that was the thought that I had, then what I can do is I can take that thinking, bring it back to my now moment and say, okay, if that's how I'm going to be looking at this, what do I need to do or what do I need to stop doing that will actually lead to that thought of this being easier than I thought? And how can I make that my new mantra? How can I make that my new mantra for creating my financial goal in my business? And so, yeah, I just think about it now. Like I'm here talking to you on a drive. I'm going from, one part of the country to another part of the country and go from Ballarat to Bendigo to Malden to, all over. But as I'm just driving along on the open country roads, my mind can wander and I can start to think about, wow, yeah, if it really did get to be easier for me to experience this, would I be doing all the things that I'm doing now? What would I let go of? What would I turn my attention to? How would I be showing up? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a fun way. Like that fourth question that I shared with you, thinking about the future version of you and what goes through your mind in that exact moment of realizing, oh my gosh, you did it. Use that as your mantra and bring it back to now and start to lean into that as a way of my there we go. Just checking my headphones are still working. Start leaning into that and see what it looks like in terms of mind, business, spirit for your private practice and just see how you go with that. But yeah, this is some of the stuff that we talk about when we have our monthly masterminds and catch ups in Momentum, and they come up in the individual sort of pop up calls there and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just so much fun. Like, we love to talk about all these kinds of things. And yeah, there was something else that I wanted to share with you as well, which was just something that was really, really moving and really, really touching. And I will never ever forget it forever, probably. Like, it was so powerful. But we were talking, we had a 90-day planning session again last week. So a bunch of the women, they've just finished their first 90 days, and I wanted to help them set up for success for the upcoming 90 days. And we were going around the group and we were talking about their experience with planning, how it went, what worked, what didn't, all of this. And yeah, one of the ladies shared that she had noticed that her biggest takeaway was she had this huge identity shift in terms of how she sees herself in the business, and that identity shift was resulting in behavioral shifts for her. And more than that, right, she said that her business was going really, really well and she's almost fully booked. She wants to start looking at wait lists. And she said that she is now paying herself, and that was huge for her. And that prior to coming into Momentum, she had a private practice and she'd had it for 3.5 years, and she'd never taken a salary, she'd never taken a wage or anything like that. But within just a couple of weeks of being in the program and starting to install some of the systems and processes, she's been taking a wage, she's got money in the bank, and every week she pays herself more than she did the week before. And I just was like nearly crying because I just wanted to like leap through the screen and give her a great big hug, because I could see what a big, big, big thing this was. And it was just so huge for her. And I am just so happy for her. I'm so, 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 so happy. And then everybody else started sharing their stories as well. And I will share them with you over upcoming episodes and stuff like that. But one of the other things too was last night. So, yeah, I'm on break at the moment, but still supporting the ladies in Momentum. And yeah, one of them reached out to me late yesterday afternoon, and she shared with me her numbers, and she's increased her turnover by 29.07%. I know it's very exact. That's how we do things over here. We want to be very exact because we do, Momentum's very data driven. So anyway, yeah, it was just like so exciting. And she's over the moon. I'm over the moon for her. And somebody else, it's just all happening there. There was somebody else, and she shared as well that she's just been announced finalist for a Business Excellence Award for her private practice work that she's doing. And I'm just like, this is exactly what I always dreamed of, working with these types of women that get it, that understand, that know it's about mind, business, spirit, that, yeah, that do the work. And you know what? I'm not going to like lie to you either. Like, it's not hard. When they start in Momentum, there can be meltdowns. There can be meltdowns. They happen because it's very different. The program's quite different to maybe the way that they've been doing private practice before they came. But the way that they've been doing private practice before they came wasn't working, which is why they're here. But their default is to like hear a new approach, a technique, a tool, a strategy, a process, something like that to install. They want to do it, but it's like their mind is like, it's like not in my comfort zone, so maybe I shouldn't. So the doubt comes up. So yeah, there's definitely times where there can be mini meltdowns, maybe even bigger ones. So yeah, it's not easy work, but they do the work. They get to the other side. It becomes their new normal. Their identity starts shifting and changing, and then they start to see the manifestation in their business of, yeah, how they're showing up and what they're doing, and the beautiful gifts that they have, and the beautiful clients that they work with. And it's just like every single day, there's something, there's somebody that's celebrating, or there's somebody that's like, on the very steep learning curve, and wondering why they joined. So yeah, and two, like I was saying to one of my beautiful clients in the program this morning, I said to her, I know who's doing the work and I know who's not, because the ones who are doing the work are the ones who are, you know, questioning things, or having concerns, or having the little mini meltdowns and stuff like that. But I also know the ones who are doing the work because they're getting the results. That said, people don't escape my radar either, and I'm always checking up on everybody. So, yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful space. But I manifested this, okay? I manifested it because I had an idea of who I didn't want to work with anymore, which gave me the clarity around who I do want to work with. And from there, it was calling in those clients. And oh, the other thing that I manifested too was actually momentum. So, yeah, in November, I got the diagnosis, which then made everything very real for me. Like, I started to understand why I was struggling with some aspects of my business. Like, I used to go through days or times where, I don't know, I'd see somebody would have a 1 hour appointment booked in the diary, and it would be like, I don't know, 11 a.m. or something like that. But then I was like grumpy about it because I feel like, my self talk was like, now my whole morning is ruined. And like I couldn't do anything because I had this looming appointment at 11. So that was like how the neurodivergence worked for me a lot of the time. And it was never anything to do with my clients, obviously. It was just like me with the idea of like being that time is now allocated, but I need time to be flexible. So I spent a lot of time thinking about, okay, how can I make this work for me? And that was how momentum was actually born. It was made firstly from a point of, how can I make a program that matches my energy? And once I figured that out, it was like, okay, great, I've got the idea, but how do I now make it also work for my clients? And so then it was like refining, tweaking, adjusting, making the changes, all of that. And that's how momentum was created, from that space. And yeah, so now I've got this beautiful program, and it works for me, it works for my clients, and I manifested it. And I am just so happy. Like, I don't see myself stopping this ever. I really don't. And even actually, when we had one of the calls last week, the 90-day planning call last week, one of my clients was like, yeah, next year when I do momentum again. I mean, to for her to even be thinking about that as she's just moving into month 4 meant that, for me, it was really validating, because it's showing me she's getting so much from it. Like, she wants to like stay and do it again. And this is the thing, like, it's not even a course. It's not a course. It's not a membership. It's not a subscription. It's nothing like that. I have made them a portal in my dashboard though, because I was making a lot of resources and I was explaining the same concepts to lots of them. And so I thought it might just be easier for everyone if I put all of this information in one spot. So I asked them if they would like me to do that. They all said yes. So that's what I did last week. I spent last week building that out for them. And that'll just be a dynamic portal now where, as I make things, because I make them templates and resources and processes and things that they can use in their own sort of individual businesses. But from time to time, like, I'll do it for person A, and then like person F will be like, oh, this has popped up. And then I'm thinking, oh, I've already made something for person A that person F might find really, really helpful. So I can just keep adding um, things in there. And that way, as people need them, I can just say, yeah, I've made something. Just go inside your portal and go to this section here and grab it. And there's a little like, oh, I tried to do like, they're just like quick and easy templates, because I know that they're all really busy and don't have time for mucking around or fluffing around. And the other thing that I will do, I just didn't get time to do it last week, but I will go into each of the little things and just do like a 5-minute walkthrough of how to do stuff. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I just want to make sure I'm appealing to all learning styles because everyone's a little bit different. So, yeah, I'll do that as well. And it's a joy for me to do that. And yeah, I love my business. I really love my business so much. I just have the best business ever, and it works for me. And I'm just so happy. I am so, 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 so happy with the business and how it's all going. And it's in part because of me having to have a new identity. So, yeah, there was definitely identity work for me to do around when I realized that the 100K came in and then I wanted to do it again. All my stuff came up. Who are you to do that? You're not someone who does that. Other people do that. Imposter syndrome, all of that. And then I wanted to share it because I really value being transparent. So I really wanted to share it. And then there was part of me saying, oh, well, what if you share it and you fail? Then you're going to, look like you have egg on your face. And it'll be so embarrassing. There'll be shame and guilt and all this. But so all that came up. So I had to like shift my identity around that. And that's something that, yeah, even in momentum, they're having to shift identity around different aspects of how they show up in the business and what that means, what it looks like, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's great for me to also be doing the work too, just on the other side. And it keeps me connected to what they're going through, some of them. And that helps me foster compassion and understanding, but it also helps me help them because I've got my finger on the pulse of like what's working now in terms of a mindset stuff and what's maybe not. And yeah, and it's just so much fun. I love it so much. I love it so much. And seeing them have their wins and results is just so affirming, and it just makes me like want to do more, be more, give more because I just get so lit up by all of that. It's just so lovely. And yeah, I just celebrate every single day because there's always somebody having a win. It's crazy. There are 21 people in the program at the moment, and it should go to 35 or 36, sorry, in mid-July because in mid-July I'm accepting new people in. It's by invitation only. So if you want to come, you can go to my website and you'll see Practice Momentum. I think it's in the Work With Me tab. And if you click that, it will take you to more information. And if you want, you can apply. Yeah. And obviously the first 15 places go to 15. Why am I saying 15? It's because in my head I'm seeing the 15th of July, but it's 10 places, sorry. The 10 places will go first to the people who have applied and they're on the wait list and they've been approved and things like that. So the program might not even go open to the actual public. So yeah, it's just like I just want to honor people who know that that's what they want and that's what they need. And yeah, I'm just so excited to work with them and welcome them into the space as well. And it's going to be so great because by the time they come, people will be just finishing their second 90 days. Um, and that'll be nice because the new people will just be right at the beginning, whereas the current people will be moving into their third lot of 90 days. So they've got some experience. Do you know what I mean? They can just provide like different support in the community. Do you know what I mean? Like at the start, like they've all come in pretty much at the same time within like a couple of weeks of each other. Pretty much, like I would say within a month of each other, they've all come in at the same time. But now it'll be like a clear, okay, you guys are the OGs. And everybody here is a newbie, so we all look after each other and help each other along the journey, and it's just so beautiful. I love it so much. But yeah, this is the story of how manifesting is working for me in my business, the techniques that I use. So the ones that I use that work for me are journaling. Journaling brings up insights, new direction, gives me answers and clarity and direction. So journaling, but try and do it, a couple of times a week or, once a week on a Saturday morning or something like that. Just try and get into the habit of it. That's number one. The second thing is listening to that Tracy Stein meditation. You could listen to others, but that's the one that works best for me at night before I go to sleep. And I don't do it every night, but probably now it's just like a couple of times a week I do that, fall asleep to it. The other thing is ask myself throughout the day as things come up, what do I really want? How will I feel when I have it? How can I experience that feeling now? And then, creating your money mantra. And the way that I did that was through that question of, imagining, okay, I've just realized that I've got the thing that I've been manifesting. Oh my gosh, here it is right in front of me. My 10 new clients in the diary, and they're all dream clients. How am I feeling right now? What's that first thought that goes through your mind? Bring that thought back to the present and use that to map out how you need to be, what you need to do, your mindset, all those kinds of things in order to get the result in your business. Yep. So, yeah, if I can do it, you can do it too. You totally can. But yeah, I hope that this was fun and interesting. And if you like doing manifesting and stuff like that too, let me know your best strategies. I'd love to open a conversation around it. How are you applying it to your business if you are? And yeah, thanks for listening. Have a beautiful day. Bye.